After finishing up the Nissan Skyline GTR R32, I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit more difficult, so I decided for this build I'm going to do Borges 2022 Subaru BRZ, which was displayed at SEMA. The kit that we have in front of us is the Pandem Widebody kit, which was sold from Eternity Hobby Supply as one of their demo cars. The first thing that I need to do is convert this kit into the Street Hunter kit, which is the kit that's on Borges BRZ. And the first thing that needs to be done is modifying the fenders so all the panel lines can fit evenly. Since this kit is a demo kit, they've already tested the widebody on there, meaning there's a whole bunch of imperfections on the body that I have to correct, which does mean I have more work to do. But nevertheless, I took out the Dremel and started sanding away. After sanding the front fenders down, I can move over to throwing the front bumper on using some super glue. Next up, a piece of the side skirt had broken off, so I decided that I just need to go ahead and glue it back on. After the panel lines started to line up a little bit better, I decided that I can move over to the rear fender, and to do this I glued it on using some super glue. Then I placed some super glue around the edge just to make sure it's flush and on there. Then I could do the same for the driver's side and wrap up this install. To start converting the Pandem kit over to the Street Hunter kit, I decided that I want to start at the rear fenders. The first thing that needs to be done is basically changing the entire shape of the fender, and to do this, I'm cutting off what's there and then placing some styrene just to give me a general shape. To get the shape of the Street Hunter kit, I need to use some putty to convert it, but first I need to create a line on the fender that's there just so I don't lose it. Fortunately, this is resin. The type of putty that I'm going to use to create these fenders is Bondo. I've had really good luck with it in the past, so I'm going to continue to use it. All you have to do is create the mixture and then apply it to whatever it is you're applying it to. In this case, the fender. I just covered up the rear piece trying to get it as close as possible to the Street Hunter kit, and then after it dries I can come back and make some more corrections. Next, taking some 200 grit sandpaper, I went ahead and sanded it down till it's perfectly smooth. And after a bunch of sanding, this is the general shape of the rear fender. After taking a look at the BRZ again, I noticed that there's some gaps, some little vents in between the rear fenders, so I decided that I need to recreate those, and to do this, I started off by adding some more Bondo. Then, taking an X-Acto knife, I traced around the part that needs to be cut out. Then I took out the Dremel and started to sand away. After dremeling out the little vent portion, you can see that the body is extremely uneven, and even there's a hole. So I took out some more Bondo and covered that up. Since the Bondo is inside of this little groove, there's no other way to sand it except by hand, which is a very tedious process that took around 10 to 15 minutes. With the rear portion of this kit out of the way, we can move over to modifying the side skirts. As seen in this picture, the side skirts are shaped a little bit differently. They're more flat and connect to a side splitter, so I got to the cutting. To correct the unevenness and fill in some of the holes, I used some Bondo. Repeating the process with the fenders, I sanded down the Bondo using some 200 grit sandpaper. This rear portion of the side skirt is shaped a little bit differently, so I cut it off and decided to make my own little piece using some styrene. Next up, a side splitter needed to be made to connect to the side skirt, so I made that using some styrene. Moving over to the front bumper, I decided that the easiest way to replicate the Street Hunter front bumper is to cut off the front bumper on the Pandem kit and then glue on the OEM front bumper. Then taking some Bondo, I covered it up just to create a smooth and natural transition. Similarly, this portion of the Pandem front bumper had an intake duct that needed to be covered up, so I covered that using some Bondo. Then taking some 200 grit sandpaper, I sanded everything down till it was smooth. Then to fill in this little gap, I used a piece of styrene sheet. Then, taking some fiberglass reinforced Bondo, I essentially extended the front bumper. I used the fiberglass reinforced Bondo because I wanted this to be a whole lot sturdier and not run the risk of the Bondo cracking. Then, after a bunch of sanding and creating the duct bill that goes on top of the rear trunk, this was the finished product. Thank you guys for watching. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Deuces.